Just one moment. We thank and praise God on today. I am so excited. Welcome to the Pure Partners virtual ministry. On today, we are the founders, Elder Maurice and Elder Kim Johnson, and we want to welcome you. I'm so excited. Today, we are Facebook Live as well, which I'm excited about. It's so funny how God works, because for months, we have been trying to get this to work, but glory be to God, He worked it out today. So we are excited on today. So we want to welcome you. The Pure and Pure Partner stands for prayer, understanding, reinforcement, and encouragement. That's what we come to bring every Sunday evening. We are the dessert on Sunday evening. We know you all get the word on Sunday mornings, and you come home and you fellowship with your family and you eat well. And we are the dessert. We give you the dessert word or an encouragement for you on Sunday. So I'm so excited today. We are honored to have Bette Vargas with us today. So excited. Our topic on today is after COVID cooking, just talking about our health and eating better. And the woman of God is going to bring some great statistics on today and give us some wisdom for the way about eating and our health. And so I'm going to go ahead and read her bio today, just to give you a little understanding about her today. Bette Vargas teaches people how to heal from the inside out. A certified holistic health coach, personal trainer, senior fitness and behavioral change specialist. She has taught thousands of clients how to achieve lasting fitness and health through her unique menopausability program, TM. Bette coaches pre and menopausal women how to successfully integrate better lifestyle choices by fully engaging body, mind, and spirit as an inseparable whole for total wellness. A champion race walker and former USA track and field official, Bette has trained in some of the most exclusive fitness facilities, from the Empire State to the Golden Gate, presented at conferences for major corporations, and produced events focused on fitness. She hosts the upcoming podcast, Crazy Sexy Menopause, and at 66 years young and a newlywed, Bette believes optimal health, true love, and vibrant sex is possible for women at any age. She says, your dreams can come true. It all begins with intentions. Amen. So we present to some and we introduce to others Bette Vargas. Bette, are you ready?
I am. Can I
All
share
right.
my screen now?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Wait, let me see. Okay. And here we go. Thank you so much for inviting me today. And to God be the glory. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today we're going to discuss post-COVID cooking. I want to share a disclaimer first. The majority of the food that I eat is grown in nature, and I am in no way suggesting that you adopt my lifestyle. I believe Hippocrates, who said in actually 400 BC, let thy food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. He said this to emphasize the importance of nutrition to prevent or cure disease. So this is my ministry, and I would be remiss if I didn't share the truth about what what we need to do as humans in this inhumane world. Only providing options for healthier choices. If you've struggled to lose weight, want to lessen or eliminate your medicine dosage, or you want to cut down on your meat and processed food consumption. I also recommend that you speak with your health provider to discuss any changes you may make, especially if you're on medication for blood pressure or blood sugar or have high blood sugar. So 61% of the US adults reported undesired weight changes since COVID-19. They stress, lack of exercise, unhealthy changing in eating habits, and increased alcohol consumption are all contributing factors. They've coined it the COVID-15, and some people say the COVID-19 because they've gained over between 15 to 20 pounds during this particular period. Experts say that making small adjustments to your daily routine can make big changes for a more healthier lifestyle. One solution to get back on track is to make healthier choices through food substitutions in the kitchen. Changes you make in your kitchen can signify change in your body and overall health and wellness. Now, I'm giving you a warning here. The ingredients that are most detrimental to African Americans specifically are salt, oil, and sugar. They are food industry's trifecta for addiction. Salt, oil, and sugar will spike the blood pressure, clog the arteries, and increase the risk of diabetes. They guarantee addiction. They guarantee addiction because by consuming these substances consistently, the brain is rewired so that the dopamine pathways light up at the mere suggestion of food. And this happens whether the person is hungry or not. How often have you passed by a McDonald's store or any fast food restaurant for that matter, and your taste buds start to light up and you think about the taste of what those McDonald's French fries taste like, and you get a yearning for it? That is what we mean. That is exciting the dopamines in the brain. So what we want to do is to set ourselves up for success. One thing, you know that this is happening. So now Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. So if you know now that these outside substances are psyching you out into buying these products that are going to continue to addict you, think about that the next time your dopamine receptors are excited in the brain, and just pass by these places. Once you get past them, you won't feel that anymore, and that sensation will go away. So setting yourself up for success, one way is to get rid of what's in your house that is enticing you, the foods, that the comfort foods that you have stocked up in your refrigerator or in your cabinets. Get rid of them, and also make sure you know what's in your refrigerator. So what do I mean by that? Clearing your cabinets of all of the bread, the cookies, the candy, the pastries, the crackers, potato chips, and soda, all those things that you tend to gravitate towards when you're feeling stressed out, or you just want to busy yourself, or you just want to put in your mouth. Rid of all of, and replace it with healthy foods. Put the oils, I'm not saying get rid of all of your oils, but I'm saying put them towards the back of your cabinets. Arrange your refrigerator so that your fruits are on the door of the shelf. So when you open the refrigerator door, that's the first thing you see if you want a snack, and you'll gravitate toward that. I put my oranges and my apples and those types of things on the shelves of the door, and I'm more likely to pick up an apple when I open the refrigerator looking for a snack. Put your leftovers and your prepared foods on the top shelf, your condiments on the bottom shelf, and on the bottom shelves of your door. So you have to bend over in order to get them. Your vegetables go on your middle shelf, and the meats go in the bottom on the crisper. So now you, if your meats bleed, then all of that is contained in the crisper. And you can also line your shelves and your drawers with paper towels to make them easier to clean. I also, in terms of eating canned versus glass, this product is amazing. Pomi is a product that I use for my strained tomatoes. As you can see, the tomato sauce, they have chopped tomatoes and also finely chopped tomatoes. And what I love about this particular product is that they're 100% natural. They have no salt, and you, because they come in a carton, you don't get the aluminum that you would get from a can. So you want to make sure that your products are BPA and free and aluminum free. Now, these particular products do have that, they're canned, but they are, as you can see, non-GMO. And BPA free. So you see that on the label. And also what you notice is that there is no salt added. So these are, I love these particular because they're much healthier for you to consume. If you don't have a Sprouts in your area, typically your the store brand will have a no salt added product on their shelves. You just have to look for it. They're there. Okay, so salt. African Americans over 51, those with high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, etc., should only consume no more than 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams of salt per day. And as you can see, that is just a little over a half of a teaspoon. Our kidneys regulate sodium, but if they become exhausted and cannot regulate the sodium due to heart disease or kidney disease, diabetes, or poor health, the sodium builds up and causes water retention that puts pressure on our heart and arteries. Common health concerns associated with too much salt include high blood pressure, stroke, increased risk of heart disease, osteoporosis, and stomach cancer. Some ways to combat the risks of salt, and you might want to write this down, is to eat less, try to eat out less. Meaning prepare your foods at home. If that is impossible for you to do all the time, then seek out restaurants that have no salt options. Typically, if you can Google your restaurant and look up their nutrition facts. They will have them online, and you can look at what the sodium content is in the foods that they eat, and you would be surprised to note that some of those recipes, some of the recipes or the dishes on the menu far exceed the amount of sodium that you need. We have been programmed to look at the caloric intake of food, but it's for Black people, it is the sodium content that we need to look at and be wary of, especially if we have issues with and heart disease. Don't add table salt. Just take the salt away from the table and either put no salt or very minimal amounts of salt on your food cooking. Some substitutions that you can use for salt are lemon. Lemon is an excellent substitution for salt, and some of the foods that are high in natural sodium, because our bodies do need sodium. It is a mineral that we have in our bodies, but all that we need is in the foods that we can consume from nature. So celery, Swiss chard, pepper, balsamic vinegar, your dills, basil, mint, rosemary, instead of tamari or soy sauce, there's cocoa aminos that is very, very tasty, and it's a great substitute for salt. And seaweed, different types of seaweed that take little or nothing to prepare are great enhancements to your sodium content, adding sodium to your food. So these are some of the substitutes for salt that you can add that are wonderful for your dishes. Oil is 100% fat. It contains absolutely no fiber, so it does not let us feel fuller. Anytime we have some kind of oil in our dishes, it promotes more eating. It promotes us to overconsume. So we don't want to do that. And less is more, and none is the best. Some oil substitutions are water. If we're cooking, just low sodium vegetable broth, you can either make it or not. Low sodium, and the difference between broth and stock is that vegetable broth has seasonings in it and vegetable stock is unseasoned. So for salad dressings, your basic salad dressing, some substitutions for oil would be mustard with vinegar, or lemon, lime, grapefruit juice, all celery juice. And for a more complex taste, you can add strawberries or mango or cucumber. And for a rich, creamy consistency, a small amount of tofu. Cashew nuts are great. Avocado is it is very tasty. So it's those types of things, substances or foods that you can use as substitutions for oil. When you're cooking vegetables on the stove top, your onions, your celery and mushrooms and bell peppers, you heat your pan up, or your saute pan or your soup pot on medium high. And once it gets to heated, you add about 1 to 2 teaspoons of water. And when the water begins to sputter, you add your vegetables and let them cook, because as they begin sauteing, the natural sugars and the natural juices from the food becomes released, and it's intensified, and you won't need any kind of liquid. Also, for cooking vegetables in the oven, you can use parchment paper or silicone bakeware, or silicone bakeware or mats to put on your pan, which are reusable and they don't stick. And so there's no need for oil. You just season your vegetables. And sometimes I don't season them because I love the natural flavors of the foods at any rate. For baking, to substitute for oil, you can substitute with banana, applesauce, dried fruits and dates or moistness. Nuts and seeds add richness, and cashews instead, or in some cases. Also parchment paper, as I mentioned, instead of oil for your bake pans. Sugar. Refined sugar is an empty calorie food substance like sugar, like salt and oil, and it's very easy to overconsume. Now this is maybe more from the years 20 to 2012, males and females aged 2 and older consumed an average of 1/4 pound of sugar per day. So that is insane. It's an awful lot of sugar. And as I said, sugar, salt, and oil are addictive. So some substitutions are seasonal fruit. For cooking, you can substitute bananas, apples, dates, applesauce again, peaches, strawberries, raisins, but you want to use the dried fruits sparingly because they are a high density and high calorie food because the liquid has been extracted from the fruit. Additional substitutions, if you want to experiment for an egg, ground flax seeds, 1 tablespoon with 3 tablespoons of water makes an excellent egg replacement. I know it sounds weird, but it absolutely works. For buttermilk, unflavored nut milks, and 1 tablespoon of vinegar. So I use 1 cup for 1 cup of nut milk. You add 1 tablespoon of vinegar, either white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or rice vinegar. Stir it up and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And it's an excellent substitute for buttermilk. I have made the best biscuits ever with this particular recipe. Substitute for milk, almond milk, cashews, hemp milk, oat milk, rice milk, and soy milk. The only thing is that oat milk is a little high in calories and a little high in fat, so you want to use that sparingly. But the other nut milks are absolutely wonderful. I do want to share a little something about animal milk and its derivatives they're not meant for human consumption. Cow's milk is a high fat fluid designed by nature to turn a 65-pound calf into a 600-pound cow in 6 months. It contains saturated fat and cholesterol, and neither is good for human consumption, and studies have proven that cow milk does not prevent osteoporosis or bone fractures in women. It also can contribute to prostate cancer in men. In fact, women who ate the most meat and dairy had the most bone loss and fractures, while those who ate plants had had the least amount of fractures and the strongest bones. So cows consume grass to provide their bodies with the calcium for their babies. And so we should follow their lead and eat our calcium from plant sources. The government's assistance, milk and all other milk products were created to monetize their bottom line to the excess of $50 billion. There is a reason why 90 to 95% of Asians, 95% Native Americans, 65 to 75% of African Americans, 50 to 60% of Latino and Latinas, and only 10% of European Americans are lactose intolerant. Now we come to seasonings, our herbs versus spices. So let me define. Herbs are made from green leafy vegetables as part of a plant, herbs are made from the leafy green parts of plants and can be fresh or dried, and spices are usually dried and come from bark, bud, fruit, berries, roots, or seeds of a plant and are very aromatic. So some fresh herbs. These are some herbs that I keep in my, for myself. You can keep an herb garden. This, as you can see, is basil. That's my basil plant. And also I typically have cilantro. I've run out, and this is green scallions or green onions. So you can actually put the as you see the green onions in a little jar. You can do your cilantro the same way. You can, once you bring it home from the store, and the stems in a jar of water, cold water. You can cover it in with a plastic container, put it in your refrigerator, or leave it in a sunny spot. And it's absolutely wonderful. It will stay fresh. So some fresh herbs, thyme, ground pepper, basil, cilantro, parsley, mint, those types of things. Marjoram, um, all of them you can do. You can set up an herb garden, and these herbs are they're use them fresh in salads and dips at the end of cooking, so they don't become overcooked or lose their flavor and color. Dried herbs intensify the flavor as they are heated, so they are added early in the cooking of soups and stews, and you can add dried herbs and spices in salad dressings. When using dried herbs, start with a small amount initially, because you can always add to your taste, but you cannot take away. Spices are turmeric, onion powder, garlic powder, cinnamon, granulated onion, granulated garlic powder, coriander, all of the different spices you see here that are absolutely wonderful in your foods. 1/4 teaspoon of spices if you're cooking for one, and 1.5 to 1 teaspoon of dried herbs if you're cooking for, if you're using larger portions. Taste, then make your adjustments. So you're adding that, and then taste, and if you feel like you want to add more, then you make an adjustment in that way. Keep in mind that some spices are more pungent than others, and those might be your cumins or rosemary or ginger, curry, and cayenne. So you want to use less of that. I typically buy my spices bulk and transfer them into glass jars. They should be stored in cool spaces away from dampness, light, and heat. So you don't want to shake your herbs and spices over your pot when cooking, because this causes clumping and it causes them to age faster. So you want to put your in another, like a glass container, and then take that or shake the your glass jar in the seasoning in your hand, and then put it into your pot that way, so you're not taking right over your food or your heat. Now I am going to break away, and we are going to look at our video of me preparing the mushroom, spinach, and orzo pasta dish. Hi, I'm Betty, and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make a mushroom, spinach, and orzo pasta. You may not have heard about orzo. It's not necessarily a familiar pasta. However, this whole wheat pasta is Mediterranean in nature, and it's mistaken for rice. It's a whole wheat pasta that is high in fiber. There are the processed kinds, but the whole wheat is higher in fiber, and so that distinguishes it from the processed. Now, what we have for our dish today is 10 ounces of spinach, We've got 12 ounces of mushrooms. We've got 2 cups of vegetable broth, 2 cups of a non-dairy, unflavored milk. This is almond milk. I have the 12 ounces of my Orzo, and you can use either a 12-ounce can of navy beans, or what I've done here, I've soaked a cup and a half of dried beans. We also have a cup of onions, yellow onions, 4 to 6 cloves of garlic that are minced, 4 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, some lemon zest, half a teaspoon of thyme, and some ground black pepper. Okay, so now we're about to begin. What we want to do is put a little, I like to put a little water in my pan, and we're using water in place of oil. Okay, so now we're adding our onions, mushroom, and our garlic in the pan in high heat, and we're going to just stir this around and let this cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. We have this on high heat. We're going to turn it down to medium high. It's medium high for me. And you want to keep stirring, because the liquids from the mushrooms will provide enough of a liquid moisture in your pan so that you may not need any more. However, if it begins to stick before your 2 to 3 minutes are up, you can always just add a tiny bit more water, and that's it. Okay? And then just keep stirring, just keep stirring. Oh, this is smelling really good. Okay. All right, so this is really getting aromatic. So now we're going to bring our temperature back up to high. I'm just going to stir this a little bit more. And now we're going to add our vegetable broth. We're going to add our milk, the non-dairy milk, and we're going to add our Orzo. Now, we're going to let this come to a boil. We're bringing it, it's up to the high heat, and we're going to bring this to a boil. And once it's boiling, we're going to lower the heat again and cover it up. Okay, so now we've gotten this to a boil. We're going to now cover it and reduce the heat a little bit to medium, about medium heat, and let this simmer for 5 to 7 minutes. All right, so now we've noticed that it's gotten a little thicker, which is really yummy. Now we're going to add our beans in. We're going to stir them in. Turn down our fire a little bit, and then just add our spinach a little at a time. And we're gonna just keep this cooking until it wilts, until the spinach wilts down. Man, this smells really good. We've got the spinach, all greens, all green leafy vegetables have all kinds of minerals and vitamins. The spinach and well, all of the green leafy vegetables have 17 out of the 20 major vitamins that we need to have in our diet every day. So that's why having green leafy vegetables every day in your diet, you can't go wrong. They're vitamin A, vitamin B, C, D, K, and all kinds of magnesium, calcium, manganese, potassium, all of that green are in green leafy vegetables. So this is just absolutely wonderful. This is a healthy dish. I love a great salad. While our mushroom, spinach, and orzo dish is cooking, we're going to throw together a salad. And this is so easy. What we're going to do is just throw in a bunch of salad greens. As I said earlier, greens, you want to get as many greens in your life, in your diet as possible, because those are your minerals and your vitamins. Anytime, and typically you should have at least a pound of salad a day. And what I do is I use a scale. So if I need a measurement, this is one of my tools that I use in the kitchen. It's very inexpensive. You can get it for $10 or so, maybe even less. But it's a great tool, especially when you are calculating your calories and the amount of ingredients you need for a specific dish. Now we're going to also add in our carrots. I shredded some carrots. I like to layer. And so I put in my carrots and then my cucumbers. I love cucumbers. Cucumbers are great for the skin. Ugh, love cucumbers. And then red onion. I use red onion, or some people think it's purple, but you know, I love this because it gives it a little kick, but it's absolutely wonderful, and it's not as pungent as the other onions. Love a little sweetness in my salad, so I add apples, my tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love this. Olives. Love olives. These are green and black olives. And I'm adding some pickled jalapenos. These I actually made earlier today, and they are absolutely delicious. Some cilantro. My husband loves cilantro, so I give it to him. Love it, love it, love it. And then we top it off with some avocado, and this is our fat. This is our healthy fat. So here we have a beautiful salad, and it took no time at all to prepare, and it's absolutely wonderful. Now you can also add in some nuts and seeds for additional fiber. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now. I've got some flaxseed here, some ground flaxseed. You want to buy the seeds. You want to buy the seeds and then just ground them up as needed, because once they have been ground, they lose their nutritional value. And here we have this beautiful salad. Isn't that lovely? So now The spinach is nice and wilted, so now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. So this is the apple cider vinegar, our thyme, the lemon zest, and our black pepper. So now we've got all of that, and we're going to stir that around. Get that nice and mingled all those flavors together. And this is just about done. This actually, what we've done here is makes 10 servings. So you can have some for your dinner and then put some away either in the refrigerator or the freezer until you're ready for it again. You can have leftovers and take to work, or even breakfast. If you have a big family, this is a great, great meal. And so here we are now with our mushroom spinach orzo side dish and our lovely salad. And you're all ready to go. Bon appetit. Now, hope you enjoyed that. I want to speak just briefly about portion control. So this is what your plate should look like if you are eating meat or any kind of protein. A quarter of your plate should be protein. A quarter of your plate should be a starch or grain, and half of your plate should be fruits or vegetables of some kind. And the more vegetables you have, the better. Because the more nutrients, the more colorful your plate is, the more nutrients you will get. Thank you very much. And I will pass it on back to Sister Kim.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Let me take this up. All I can say is wow, wow, and wow. Betty, that was so good. Oh my God. I was, and normally when I saw all the ingredients separately, I was like, I don't know how it's gonna come out, but it looks so delicious at the end. So
oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yes. Oh my God. So anyway,
I know, when people do the demos, and I was like, nobody can taste this. But then when I tasted it, I was like, oh my God, this was good. You have to try it.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to open up for questions and comments. I just want to say, I love the way you made it really clear about COVID-19 and just about this, how, our health, what we eat can, affects our immune system. And when you were talking about that, because when you first gave me the topic about after COVID cooking, and I really, start looking into it and thinking about it, that because the doctor's offices that I was going to, they stopped wearing, they don't wear masks because their thinking is their immune system is strong enough so they don't need the mask. They build their immune system. They eat so well to where they don't need masks because they've already built up what they feel is this barrier by how they eat. And so I just think, thank you so much for sharing that and just the importance about how we eat. And I do want you to expound a little bit, just briefly on that about, is it proven to a degree that based on how you eat and your immune system, that you would be able to, based on your studies and what you've seen, that you would be less susceptible to get COVID-19 based on that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it is. It is a proven fact, actually, and that is the reason why African Americans have been more susceptible, because we are over, we top the list of all lifestyle related diseases. We are overweight, we have high blood pressure, of hypertension, we have high cholesterol. And so they know that all of these risk factors and age actually, but more so the nutrition is more makes us more susceptible to contracting COVID-19. And if you pay attention, well, there it's not in the media anymore, but when they were reporting all of the people that died, and I started looking at all of the people in my family who died of COVID, did have at least one, maybe two risk factors, or two or more risk factors that made them more susceptible to COVID-19. So when they went into the hospital, their immune system was compromised to the point that they could not fight off the disease, could not fight off the virus. And so unfortunately, we lost them. And that is what has happened over and over and over again. So if you have that is why I'm so vigilant about putting out, please, 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 because no one is talking about nutrition. They're only speaking about getting the vaccine. But if you can get a vaccine, but you can still carry the virus to other people. You can still get sick. You still have to, now they're saying you have to get a booster shot. You may have to get a booster shot. Well, what is the point? If you are eating foods that are building up your immune system, eating foods that are high in antioxidants, you are less susceptible to contracting this virus. And they know this, but it's not that prevalent in the media. And you just have to, if you don't seek out this information, you won't know. And that's why I'm sharing this, because I know this. And I have to tell my people, because if I know this and I don't share it, I can't look at myself in the mirror, because I love my people. I love us, and I want us to all live.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to ask, because others may have questions, but thank you for answering that. And you know what? I just believe for this season, it was God's will for you to be on today, because we have been trying to go take our Zoom Facebook Live forever, and it wouldn't work. We had people help us to do it, but today it worked. So that is awesome. So that lets you know that you are reaching way more people that's in this Zoom with the information that we need to be healthier. So I'm excited. So are there any other questions or comments? You could just take yourself off mute and make your comments or questions.
You were saying that we need to eat a pound of salad a day. How do you do that?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because when I was speaking to a doctor about this, and he said, well, if you eat a salad and someone walks by, if you're at your desk and someone says, you're going to eat all that, then that's enough. That's enough food for you. But you can totally do, it's totally doable. What I do is I get a big bowl. I put maybe half of the bowl of green leafy vegetables. If I have kale, I chop up kale. If I have the salad greens, baby spinach, arugula, bok choy, all of the greens I put in there. Then I, just like I layered that salad, I'll add broccoli, I'll add carrots, and broccoli carries some weight to it. If you chop up your cucumbers. Cucumbers have weight to them. Sometimes I'll chop up my carrots instead of shredding them. That gives additional weight. The chopped apple, that has more weight. You'd be surprised at how simple. Sometimes I think I have all these ingredients out and I'm like, okay, this is never going to be a pound. But I wind up like my salad winds up being sometimes a pound and a half or 2 pounds at least, because I add so much. And I get to the point where, oh, I didn't put this in, I gotta have this. And then I just take and I have it my bowl on the scale so I can see how much I'm putting in my bowl. And once I get to the pound, if I have more vegetables that I want to add to it because I'm adding more color, like you can add your colorful peppers, the sweet peppers, like red and orange and yellow peppers, even green peppers, mushrooms, chopped up mushrooms, adding all those things. And sometimes I'll even cook or saute my mushrooms and my onions and then add them to my salad. Sometimes I'll have, like I had the Orzo dish. After the next day, it was cold. I put that in the salad. And it's great. So there's all kinds of things that you can add to a salad. And then sometimes you don't necessarily have to put a dressing on it, or you can just sprinkle a half of a lemon on there and have lemon juice and mix it all up and great salad.
When you, as far as doing a pound of salad a day, do you recommend like incorporating some greenery with your breakfast?
Absolutely. I eat greens all the time. All the time. And there's sometimes when I don't, I'll just have a salad or greens and sprinkle some hemp seeds on top for my protein, because 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds equals I think it's like 10 grams of protein. So I'll sprinkle that on, and it's kind of like, it tastes like a nut. It tastes like ground nuts. So I'll have salad for breakfast. If you eat your vegetables for breakfast, it staves off the hunger. You're satiated longer. You won't eat as much throughout the rest of the day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Bette, I want to just say that awesome presentation. And just to add on what you were just talking about at the end, I know you had gave Kim the recipe about the smoothie in the morning. And so every morning, I went and got a blender, and I add the kale, the celery, the lemon, the cucumbers, the apples, and the ginger. And we have that every morning now. And it does carve back your appetite. And we've been doing that for almost about a month now. And I can tell the difference. So like you said, it is important to have that greenery every morning. But I just want to say, I thank you for the recipe, because at first I was a little hesitant about, because I really don't like cucumbers. But me having it in the smoothie, I was like, this is not half bad. And then I thought about it, you don't eat to
Live.
You don't eat to live, you live to eat.
Yeah.
That's
So I just thought about that. And so every day, that's my breakfast every morning. So once again, I want to thank you for that recipe. And again, thank you for your presentation.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. And one thing I have to share, that I am a sugar addict. And one thing that I would like to say about sugar is that you can release that addiction. And one way to do that is through green leafy vegetables. So the more you eat green leafy vegetables, that it's the chlorophyll in the greens that totally get rid of that sugar addiction. And so that is something that I absolutely love. I don't even have the desire for sweets anymore. So it absolutely works. I don't talk about anything that I have not done before, and I will never share something that has not been tested by me or my guinea pig husband.
I got another question for you, but when you were saying that is so profound what you were saying about the greens cancel out the sugar, because many of us, okay, so that's a challenge for me. And so to know that doing more of that, and now that I remember back, when I am eating more green leafy type things, you don't want that. It changes that, and it does take that away. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. It changes, absolutely changes your taste buds. And you're able to taste the natural sugars in the fruits that you consume even more, and your vegetables. So often because we are masking our taste buds with salt and oil and sugar, we can't taste the natural sweetness in the natural foods that we're consuming. And I also want to share that it's important to consume organic. There is a website, you can Google the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, and this will make your shopping a lot easier. So if the Dirty Dozen are the foods that are higher in pesticides, and you don't want to consume them conventionally. You want to buy those foods organic. And then there's the Clean 15, which have a thicker skin, and the pesticides don't permeate those skins. And so those are foods that you can consume more conventionally if you are on a budget. And so that's a way of making healthy eating more affordable, because I know that's been an issue for a lot of people. They say, oh, it's too expensive. But it's all relative. When you look at a couple of dollars for a bunch of kale versus $50,000 for gastric bypass surgery.
Yeah. Right. Which one
Could you talk more?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Could you talk more about the sugar addiction? Because I think that's an area where we as African Americans are not educated in.
Sugar is when people, for instance, like you say, gluten-free. Okay, so if a food is gluten-free, that means they've taken out one thing and they've added something else to make the food more palatable. And so what they've added is salt and sugar. Sugar is, for all intents and purposes, sugar is like crack. And in the book, Salt, Fat, and Sugar, salt, fat, and sugar, the author talks about this scientist who's hired by the food corporations like General Foods, Pills, all of those different corporations to find a formula of sugar that they can put in food to just putting in enough of the sugar so that it's addictive to the consumer. And what that formula is, it's called the Bliss Point. And that is the point at which there's so much sugar in it that the consumer is going to come back for more again and again and again. And that's why you find sugar in literally everything. And when it was starting to be promoted in the media that sugar was addictive, and look for high fructose corn syrup in the ingredients list, Well, then the food companies began to mask the sugar by other names. So believe it or not, there are over 100 different names for sugar. And so if you know some of those, like barley and molasses, and there are all different types of names that are for sugar. If you recognize those, well, the ones that you can't see are masked in the quote unquote natural flavors. What is a natural flavor? The natural flavors are all of the ingredients or substances that they don't want you to know are in your food or in these substances. That is why it's so important to read the labels, and so important to just eat wherever you can, eat foods that are either grown off of a tree or come out of the ground, wherever you can.
Yeah. I got a couple questions. Charlotte, did that answer your question?
It did. I just had one more question. Do you recommend eating yogurt?
No. Well, let me quantify that. Milk and milk products are, as I said, milk is only for cow's milk is only for baby cows. When and milk, all milk, mother's milk, human milk, animal milk is only meant for the consumption of the babies who are drinking it. So mother's milk is only for our babies. Cow's milk is only for cows, and like all of the substances that are made from cow's milk, like cheese and cottage cheese and yogurt and things like that. Those are all products that were monetized by the dairy industry because they didn't want to throw it away. So they made it, and the casein in those products is what clogs our arteries, and it makes us sick. It's got sugar in it, so it's really not the most healthful. It's not healthful at all. And you just look at human milk. It's not that heavy. When you're consuming when the babies are consuming human milk, if you've ever seen human mother's milk, I should say, it's very, very, very light. It's very thin, and it's you can't make anything else from it. So it's not made for anything else but for the baby. And once the baby has gotten to a certain age, then the mother weans the baby off of the milk, and you begin to get your calcium from other sources. Like I said, the milk products are advertised as having calcium, but it's added calcium. So it's not anything that you can't get from other sources, like green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables, more calcium. Your sweet peppers have more calcium than milk. They have more vitamin C than oranges. So it's those types of things that you want consume more so than something that's been artificially made for you to consume, because it's really it was only consumed so that people, mainly us, because we're marketed to to consume the cheeses and everything. And if you notice, cheese practically is in everything now. Yeah. And it's a major artery clogger.
Yeah. I got a couple questions from Facebook. One is the dish that you made, is that a salt-free dish, Or is there some seasoning other than like a Mrs. Dash?
Everything you saw was what I put in there. There was no salt in that dish, no added salt. It was only the apple cider vinegar, the lemon zest. And like I said, what is lemon? Lemon is a substitute. You can use lemon as a substitute for salt. So the zest from the lemon just really just burst that flavor out. I use the onions and the thyme.
Okay, great, thank you. And also about cooking with oils, would olive oil be okay, or just better to leave out oil, cooking with oil altogether?
Well, first of all, olive oil was not meant, it's not a high heat oil. So you should not be heating, you should not heat olive oil. Olive oil is for Mediterraneans will just take the olive oil and spray it and sprinkle it on their food after it's prepared. But because of where we are, there are a lot of oils that are kind of, we don't know how old they are, and they're artery clogging. So it's they're also high caloric in density. One tablespoon oil is like I think it's 14 grams of fat. So it's not anything that is going to be beneficial to our bodies. And I really believe, because I've been kind of deconstructing foods and looking at foods, and you wonder if you've ever had, like, you go to the American Chinese foods and you eat the Chinese food, and like, maybe an hour or so later, you're like, oh, I want more, I'm still hungry. I really believe that it's the oil in the food, because sometimes that food is just really oily. But I digress. But oil it's really, it only takes a little bit to just throw your whole program in terms of like your diet and your calories and your fats, etc.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? This is so good.
Question.
Mhm.
For the smaller children, what do you suggest milk-wise as far as toddlers and I say 1 to 5? What do you suggest giving them to drink other than whole milk or 2%, all that milk, What do you suggest giving them?
Well, what are you giving them the milk for?
It's just I don't know. It's just something that's been done for years and years. So being a child care provider, I just assume they need to drink milk. So, I'm being honest. I just assume they need to drink milk. So if there's a alternate, something better, I would love to, have the new set of children to learn to eat and drink better.
I'm so glad you said that, because I had an in-home daycare, and the average age of my little ones was 2 years old, and I never served milk.
Really?
And my children were not raised on milk. My children are. I have, my oldest daughter is 40. I have a set of twins that are 38, and my youngest daughter is 36. And I never gave them cow's milk. And they've never had any broken bones. They've never been sick. And as I said, it's, just because it's something that's always been done, it doesn't mean that it can't be stopped. The reason why we are in the situation that we are in terms of our health is because we've always done this. It's not that we as Black people are more susceptible to eating, you know, that foods make us more, or that just because of who we are, make us more susceptible to disease. It's the environment that we have. It's the things that we have that have been passed down to us from generation to generation that keep us sick. So find, if you're wanting, if you know, cereals have a lot of sugar, and that's typically what people put on, put milk in, is their, you know, the cereal. But like I said, you got your nut milks, almond milk, cashew milk, oat milk, the rice milk, what else? Hazelnut milk. You've got all of these different, rice milk, all of these different substitutes, and soy milk, actually. So you've got all of these different options that that you can provide for your children. And I would do a test. If you're giving them the milk, if you're not putting the milk on a cereal, just give them a juice, an unflavored juice. Make them a smoothie, you know, you know, with, and for me, I don't even use milk and nut milk in my smoothies. Now I'm like way up here. You know, I'm hardcore. But if you put a nut milk in a smoothie, as opposed to a cow's milk, and put the fruits in there, the frozen fruits and things of that nature, I bet you they won't notice. I'm willing to bet you they won't notice it. And all four of my children were scholar athletes. They ran track and field, and my house was the go-to house. And so whoever came to my house ate what I ate. And so I made them fruit smoothies. I made them healthy meals. And I told them that this was going to help them run faster. And they believed it. And they didn't notice the difference, and the difference of the foods that I prepared for them. They just noticed that it tastes really good. And so I'm just test your children. They'll let you know. If you mask it. There are many recipes where you can the foods that you give your family, and they won't notice the difference. I kid you not.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to try that.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Well,
So when you're saying, I know you were saying about the olive oil, which I already knew that, but is it okay to use like the avocado oil? Or are you saying don't use the oils at all?
All oils are the same. If you go to the store and look at the ingredients of the oils, they are all the same. They all have upwards of 14, I believe they're all like 14 grams of fat. And so, you know, I opt out, and you know, when I use other substitutes for the oil, I tell you, I do not miss it at all. I don't. And my husband, actually, because he's a big oil person. As a matter of fact, when we met, he was overweight, he had high blood pressure, and was on medication, actually. And I put him on a diet. And he lost like 40 pounds, and he does not eat oil. He does not consume oil.
Amen.
All I can say is try it. Just try it. Don't take my word for it. Try it.
Yeah, it's good. Got another question for you. The question is, how do you detox from sugar?
Green leafy vegetables.
Okay.
Green leafy vegetables will do the trick, and it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long, 5 to 7 days. Will and now what you can't do, go back in sugar. You can't do that. You have to continue to, not consume it. The more you crowd out those foods, and the more you incorporate healthy foods, green leafy vegetables period, in your diet, the more you add them as your nutrition, the less and less you will desire sugar, and your taste buds will just change. As a matter of fact, if you go back to consuming sugar, or if you taste it, it's going to be so sweet that you're not even going to be able to handle it, because it's going to be foreign. Your body will not even, your body won't even like it.
Right. And I think it's just such a good thing that we talked about, because even like Charlotte was said, and many of us, sugar, I think that people have really underestimated the hold on you that sugar can have, because like you said, it's not just about the powdery substance that we see, but it is masked in so many different things.
Yeah.
And that temporary feeling of fulfillment that you get, has so many other things with that. So thank you for sharing that.
It shuts off the dopamine receptors, or the ghrelin in your brain that says, stop eating, you're full, or because sugar and salt and oil are in everything, mostly sugar and salt, they're in everything. You don't even realize that you may think, okay, well, I thought I was full, but I'm not really. I want to continue eating. That's because the ghrelin is shut off in your brain, and that is what incenses me about these corporations, because you as a consumer, if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to eat I'm going to eat what I think is right, I'm going to do everything that I think I'm doing in order to lose weight or get off my medication or whatever, and you're consuming these foods that you think are healthy, and yet and still you're not losing the weight, or your numbers aren't changing, or and you don't know why, and there are people who feel like, okay, well, I give up, I'm a failure, I must be doing something wrong. And you're not doing anything wrong, you just don't know. And that is why I'm here saying, this is what the issue is. This is why you can't lose the weight. This is why you're not able to get off your medication. And unfortunately, many doctors don't have nutrition courses in school, in medical school. And so they can't tell you what's going on. They just can't, because they don't know. And all they can do is prescribe a medication for you that's going to ultimately mask the symptoms. And I've had people tell me, well, as long as I take this pill, I'm fine. No, you're not. Fine if you have to depend on a pill to keep your blood pressure down. That's not the way God wanted us to live. That's not living a good quality of life. It's just not.
Amen. Amen. Any other questions or comments? I want to say, again, as I said,
How do we get in touch with you if we want you to maybe do us a meal plan or something?
Right. I was just getting ready to cover that. Thank you, Charlotte. And I'm going to turn it right to Betty to answer that. Again, for those just tuning in, Betty is a certified holistic health coach, personal trainer, senior fitness and behavioral change specialist. So she does provide some options, and I'm gonna let her talk about it. I also want to put her Cash App in the chat. If you're watching on Facebook or you're on this Zoom, let's sow into this woman of God. We can see that she's passionate. She has taken her time to prepare the video for us and all this information. And so we definitely, I'll put it in the chat. But go ahead, can you give them your information, Betty?
Sure. My email is betty@bettyvargas.com. My name is spelled B as in boy, E-T-T-E. And I'm also on LinkedIn, and my telephone number is 415-850-9810. That's 415-850-9810. You can contact me for a free consultation, and I can go into more detail about my Jumpstart program, and also my Conscious Eating Made Easy or my Conscious Exercise Made Easy programs. I also, for women who are who are peri or postmenopausal, I have a menopausability program. So call me or email me, and let's chat.
Amen. So if you did not get that information, you can certainly reach out to us. We'll make sure you get it. She can get you a plan, whether you want to be vegan or you want to eat meat. So just because she's living one type of way, or her choice is this, she can tailor that to you, a healthy version. So just to let you know that, okay? Any other questions or comments before we move on? All right. Well, Betty, thank you so much. Outstanding job as usual. Tell your husband, great job on the video. He did really good. He did good.
Thank you. I will tell him.
Yes, ma'am. And we will definitely be in contact. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me. God bless you all, and stay safe out here, and have a healthy evening and a wonderfully healthy week.
Amen.
Right now, we get ready to go into our announcements. We get ready to turn it over to our assistant, Davida Shaw.
Hello.
Just one moment.
Amen.
Bring this up for you.
Amen.
Okay.
All right. Amen. We thank God for everything that has gone forth so far. Our announcements: next week, there will not be any Pure Partners. Sunday, May 30th, we will not have Pure Partners in an observance of the holiday weekend. But please join us on Sunday, June the 6th, for Dr. Bernita Adams Robinson.
Yes.
So we won't be here next week, but tune in the week after, June 6th. Dr. Bernita Adams Robinson will be our guest. She will be ministering to us on that week.
Amen. And just
Amen.
one quick note about Dr. Bree being on. Dr. Bree is gonna come on, and she is going to be talking about the workforce and how to prepare ourselves. I'm so excited for her to come on. She has over 30 to 40 years of experience in HR and human resources for large corporations. And she's going to be talking to us about taking your career to the next level. She's going to be talking about how to market yourself in the workforce. She's going to be talking in interview techniques. And I'm telling you, she has been doing this for a long time. She's a strategist in many areas, but this is the bread and butter of what she does and has done. So we're going to be putting this out the next 2 weeks. She's going to tell us what the job market looks like right now, how to maybe, if you want to change your career field, all of that. So we have 2 weeks to get this out. So please spread this information on your social media platforms, because we want to get everybody involved with this.
Amen.
All right. Next announcement. I am so proud to announce the book launching for the co-founder, my wife, Kim Johnson. Her first book, It Happened Now. It Happened. Now What? And she'd be talking about how to move beyond your pain and take back your power. I tell you, it is an awesome book to read. We're asking you that you can go ahead and pre-order. You can go ahead and pre-order now. We do have the pay options on the screen as well. If you pay by Cash App, you go to Peer Partners for Life for Zelle, 931-220-2796. And if you pay by PayPal, Maurice and Kim Johnson 42 at gmail.com. And the cost of the book is $15 and shipping is included. The book will be available to be purchased June the 15th, 2021. And if you need more information, you can go to her website, www.kimjohnsonempowers.com. I tell you, you do not want to miss out on pre-ordering this book. Also, we want to cordially invite you to the book luncheon, her book luncheon virtual celebration, June the 27th, 2021 at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be Facebook Live. If you pre-order, you will have a signed copy shipped to you. So that's why it's very important that you go ahead and pre-order the book, and then you'll have a signed copy by the author, Kim Johnson. I tell you, you do not want to miss out on this opportunity.
Amen.
Next, calling all men, get ready for the Peer Partners Men Virtual End Gathering.
Yes.
It's titled Men Check. The theme for the July the 10th Men Check End Gathering, I am my brother's keeper.
Yes.
I tell you, we have 3 powerhouse, awesome men of God that's gonna bring down the house. We have Bishop Curtis Whaley out of Atlanta, Georgia. He'll be talking about Man on Fire. Dr. Charles A. Johnson out of Phoenix, Arizona. Be talking about A Few Good Men. And Bishop Stephen B. Thomas out of New Orleans, Louisiana, the Man in the Mirror. You can go on Eventbrite right now to register for this event. The registration is free. So there's no excuse, man, not to be a part of this this end gathering. I'm telling you, after listening to these 3 awesome men of God, I guarantee that your life would never be the same. These men are going to come to edify, recharge, and build us up. You do not want to miss this.
Yeah.
Back to you, Davida.
Amen. Amen. And ladies, you are not left out. The women's virtual end gathering, the next women's virtual end gathering is August the 7th. Saturday, August the 7th, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And our theme is walking in dominion, power, and authority. If you have been a part of the women's conference and the first women's in gathering, it was a treat, and this one will be the same. We have 4 awesome speakers. We have Dr. Bernita Adams Robinson, Elect Lady Tasha Whaley, Dr. Pamela D. Odom, and Prophetess Roberta Hatch. Please go to eventbrite.com to register. It's free registration. We want you to be in on this. It is going to be great. So please go to eventbrite.com and register, and it is free. Mhm. And if you have any prayer requests, please let us know before closing out tonight. We would like to cover them. Please feel free to put it in the chat or to take yourself off mute and let us know, because we would like to cover your prayer requests in prayer on tonight.